Welcome to the Fantasy Cycling Podcast, featuring your hosts, Grant Gardner and John Anderson. Chapeau, you're in the mix.
Welcome to the Fantasy Cycling Podcast. I'm John speaking. How are you, Grant?
Doing good.
How's your week going?
It's good. You know, just in the, what does our friend Hunter call it? The Zoom minds. You know, the Teams, the Microsoft Teams minds.
You've been slaving away.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
You had a little cycling holiday last week. You got a break from the...
Yeah, no show last week. I, no guys trip out to Hincapie country, as you just called it.
Yeah.
And did a little riding, a little eating, a little drinking. Had a really good time.
So for those that don't know, George Hincapie
lives
or has lived in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yep. And there's a hotel out there, which we weren't in the hotel, sadly.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the sponsorship dollars to kind of flow in for the Fantasy Cycling Podcast to where I can afford that. But really, really pleasant part of the world, and got to do some big rides that really enjoyed. Really had just perfect weather. I mean, like each day was like sunny, temperatures in the 60s. Beautiful.
Nice.
Saw some colors on my Garmin I'd never seen before.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Made me think about the Mur de Huy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like a deep purple. Had to have been at least 19%. We did Caesar's Head and then Sassafras Mountain after that, and there was some gradient that I was not accustomed to.
Yeah.
At least for extended periods of time.
Yeah, we might see a few of those peak up for like a second or two, but sustained gradients like that, we don't see too much of it.
Unlike Pog, I definitely was out of my saddle. But yeah, on a rest day though this week, or rest week, sorry, this week. So went ahead and sat out a tour of the Alps. Didn't really feel like I needed to get in the mix on the building the team on that.
Wasn't part of your race program.
It wasn't part of the program for the year. Needed a good rest.
But speaking of Hincapie, I don't really think we recapped Roubaix.
Did we not?
I mean, I guess since we were off last week, I don't think we did. But I saw a picture of him and his son Enzo at Roubaix Juniors.
Yeah.
In the velodrome. Hincapie was looking pretty fresh. He had some Hermes, some drip on. You know?
Did he really?
Yeah.
Was he what shoes was he wearing? Was he wearing some sneakers?
I couldn't see that, but he looked pretty fashionable. Speaking of drip, did you see Pogačar's watch like cut into his arm?
Oh yeah, we had Watchgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it could have made the difference. Could have made the difference.
That Richard Mille.
They need to work on that.
Yeah, but the funny thing is Vanderpoel is wearing the same watch and didn't have any issues.
Well, I mean he's got like the arms of a cyclocross champion. He doesn't. No one makes him bleed his own blood. Dude, I liked Roubaix. We got to hang out and watch it together.
Yeah, that was good.
What a great race. And a great victor. I know you were happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean a little predictable, but
yeah,
it was still fun.
You're a Vanderpoel fanboy.
Yeah,
aren't we all?
Yeah,
I am. I mean, I'll admit it. And we had the crash. I mean, the handling skills really, I think, were the difference. That little awkward crash from Pog. It didn't have to be so calamitous, where his chain dropped.
And then Vanderpoel had to do a bike change, so
you needed the bike with the motor in it. Like, I just crashed. Give me the one with the motor. Kidding.
No, I mean, I think there definitely was enough drama at the end point.
Yeah.
That it made it worthwhile, but it would have been a little boring if none of that had happened.
Well, and Pedersen's flat was a bummer.
That was a big bummer. We didn't see much from Ghana.
No. Yeah, I was hoping for more from Ghana. I don't know. I would have preferred not seeing the little silly like tumble take Pog out and seeing Pedersen not flat, and then I wonder what would have happened with the three of them under those circumstances.
I would have liked to see Matthew Brennan in the finale too, but
yeah,
he
was there. He was there or thereabouts for a while, but
yeah, I think he bonked.
Happens to the best of us.
No, it was another exciting edition of Roubaix. I mean, it's never not interesting. It's just sometimes the winner is a little bit predictable. Philipsen finally didn't finish second, so that was the only
the streak was ended.
Yeah, all good stuff, and then headed over to the Ardennes.
The Ardennes kicked off right afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm on a real cold streak from a fantasy perspective, Grant. I gotta get out of this slump.
In a bit of a funk.
I feel like my picks are stale. What advice do you have for someone who plays this game to get out of a slump?
I wish I knew. No. I think you can turn to the same riders a lot.
I think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm being smart. I think I'm being cute with some of these hipster picks.
Yeah.
And they're not paying out. But one day races are hard to pick. I mean, I'm ready for Grand Tour. The Grand Tours to pick out. The Giro is right around the corner.
Oh, for sure.
That'll get me out of my slump.
Yeah, if we look back at Brabant's Appeal, Remco won that one. That was his first race back.
That's the return of Remco. So I did not. You had him. You rolled the dice. You said, "Give me Remco," and I was like, "I'm going to stay away and sit that one out and not put him on my team." Of course, he wins. Top 9, usual suspects. I mean, wow, he's not winning a whole lot, but he's
still up there.
In top 5 on all these races. Aaron Baru has made a good show of things.
I think that's a good point there, is a lot of times you could be turned off by a rider based off the media coverage. And be like, oh yeah, Van Aert is down right now. He's not doing well. He's not winning.
Mm-hmm.
But he could still be on the best fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking for guys that are consistent, even if they're not winning. You want to pick the winner, but you also want to pick guys that are consistent.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Baru, he popped up there. I mean, he has been consistent lately, even if it's not a traditional race for him.
Yeah, and DeBrant's freaking Morgado, dude. After rolled with him. I rolled with him on so many races, and then wrote him off for this, and then of course he finishes third.
Yeah.
But what did you think? Were you not surprised by Remco's victory in that race?
No, I was not surprised.
He's good.
He's a winner.
He's pretty good at bikes. And if you think about it, like Jonas is like, where is right now? Has anyone seen him?
Concussion protocol. But yeah, I don't even know if he's training, what he's up to. So
write us a letter, Jonas.
Yeah.
Give us some proof of life.
While you're
there was a comment, there was an article on Cycling Up to Date. Let's see what it said. Pull that up.
Yeah. Pull that up, John.
Yeah, but I mean, that's, you've seen the return of, he's not going to the Dauphiné.
Will not compete until the Dauphiné.
Oh, shoot. I can't read.
Grammar's hard.
I'm training again without any problems. Okay. All right. Well, we shall see. We shall see. So we're seeing Jonas training away in the lab somewhere. Remco has returned to racing, and it's all going to come together in a beautiful melody in the Tour de France this summer.
Yeah.
See those 3 racing against each other.
I'd love to see that.
Amstel, what did you think about it?
Skelmosa winning that one. It came down to a photo finish. Pogačar waited for the sprint. And yeah, we had Skelmosa, Pogačar, Evenepoel, Van Aert in the top 4.
I think I won. I think I won.
Yeah. The clip from Skelmosa was cool of, when somebody is so dominant that you physically can't believe that you beat them in a bike race. So that was cool to see.
I'm noticing in Amstel and in however you pronounce that previous race, Paulus still continuing to feature.
Yeah,
finishing in the top 15 on these races. Healy doing his thing, Pidcock doing his thing. Couple of Frenchmen that I think are hot right now. Romain Gregoire and Louis Barr.
Yeah.
And they're looking strong. So those two are 6th and 7th at Amstel. And then Thibaut Nice, I don't know when he changed to costing 600. He used to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Inflation.
Inflation. So sad to see that value go. But he's a great rider. Joseph Blackmore is your value pick that featured in that Amstel ride. Him and Louis Barr are both your two best performing 200 creditors. So file away those names. Yeah, that was a pretty cool ending though.
Yeah,
it touched me.
It was
warmed my heart.
It was nice to see somebody else win. It was nice to see somebody else be so excited about winning.
Yeah.
It'd be really special to them. And hopefully we see him feature again this weekend at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. But he did crash at Flèche-Wallonne midweek.
Yep.
And that brought him out of the finale of that race, which I think he would have contested with Pogačar. On the final climb, we saw UAE light it up on the Mur de Huy with Jan Christen and Brandon McNulty. Christen looked really good. I mean, he did his turn on the front and then still came back and finished 13th. And then, of course,
noted
Pogačar won.
Yeah. But
quite convincingly.
The contrast between the finish with Skelly and then the finish with Pog, they rode that perfectly as a team. Strategy was conservative and right, and I think it was the smart move not to do anything ostentatious with Pog in that race. But he's won it before. He won it. But man, he looked kind of. I mean, I know he just finished a really tiring bike race, and it was raining, and it takes a lot of mental energy to remain focused on slippery roads and execute a game plan. He looked tired.
There was no life behind his eyes.
I think he needs a rest.
I think he needs a few days on the beach. And
yeah, I'm worried about it. And you had an interesting stat that you tweeted out, I think.
He was the oldest rider in the top 10.
Lot looking old and tired. He's old and tired and winning everything. But
yeah,
keep an eye out for that, man. He's still got a lot of racing ahead of him this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they've got to have. I don't know what their plan is, but sheesh.
Yeah. We'll get into Liège-Bastogne-Liège. I mean, I think he'll still be a factor, obviously, but keep that in the back of your mind. I mean, he is looking a little. He's not as invincible as he usually looks.
Yeah. So you want to talk about Liège?
Yeah. That's coming up on Sunday. Our fourth monument of the season, the last monument of the Spring Classics. It's known as La Doyenne, or the Old Lady. So
an old lady for our old man.
And it's in the Ardennes hills. It's a very hilly race. I mean, the last couple winners, we've seen Pogačar and Remco dominate this race with some long attacks. The big climb on La Redoute is where they've been attacking.
Yeah, I mean, those two have, they've each have 2 wins on this race over the last 4 years.
And typically, like we saw at Flèche, the weather is not great. It's rainy, spring weather. It has snowed before at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. There's a classic edition where Bernardino won, and he actually got frostbite in his fingers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it stayed with him for the rest of his life. But there's some pretty cool photos out there if you look that up of him riding through the snow. And it's the 80s, and he's not wearing leg warmers or a thermal jacket or anything like that. So you can't be surprised with some of that weather. So that could be a factor. Could be a factor for our friends at Uno X that seem to do well. And
they love the slop
and the Nordic weather. And have you seen
Norseman?
Have you seen what kit they're going to be wearing?
Oh, it's so good.
7-Eleven, bringing it back.
One of my homies texted it out the other day. It's so good.
One of the sponsors of Uno X is the European owner or distributor of 7-Eleven convenience stores in Norway or in Scandinavia. So they have the rights to the 7-Eleven brand, and they're bringing back the classic 7-Eleven jerseys and bikes from that team would have been 80s or 90s. I don't know exactly.
And they freshened it up. I mean, it's so cool looking.
It looks good.
Look it up.
So they're going to be in that kit. It would be really cool for them to factor into the race. Magnus Cort or one of his teammates there. Yeah, I mean, looking at potential winners, I mean, obviously Pogačar, Evenepoel, and I do like Skelmosa for it, despite the crash. Tom Pidcock will be up there. Romain Gregoire, Ben Healy from a breakaway, if something like that sticks. And
wonder why Van der Poel isn't racing in this one.
I just think it's a little too hilly for him and must have other objectives right now.
Yeah, he got third last year.
I think in the right situation, he could win it, but he's not going to beat any of those pure climbers like Evenepoel or Pogačar.
Okay.
You
want me to tell you who I put on my team first draft?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Pog, Remco, Pidcock. Pidcock, I'm not going to talk about Pog and Remco because it's obvious why, but Pidcock's gotten second on this race in 2023. Got 10th last year. I think he's going to definitely finish in the top 10. I like Ben Healy. 43% of users also are into him. He's gotten fourth on this race in 2023. This is where I'm kind of going back to, but I mean, the stats support it, but Shackman, mainly because he's 200 credits, but he got 9th in 2021, the last time he rode this race. And then I think he got 3rd riding it once before. He hasn't been in it in the last 4 years, so it'd be interesting to see how he does, but he's got some form. I mean,
he just won a stage race.
Yeah, he just won a stage race, so the form's there, and he can climb. And speaking of climbing, I got Guillaume Martin. He's also mainly because he's ridden this bike race a ton. Like he's done it 7 times, and he looked good. He's looked good these past couple of weeks. So I think
he's won a couple of classics lately.
Yeah, and then I've got Jan Christen for the reason you talked about, where he can, even if he works, even if he's in service for Pog, hopefully he'll just
drift into 7th place.
Yeah, drift into the back and coast into some points. And then just some flyers on some 200 creditors. Felt cute, might change this later. Giulio Pellizzari.
Ooh.
And then Luis Barr, which people are taking him. 44% of people are, but he's DNF this race every time he's done it, so he's going to need to do better.
Yeah,
he's going to need to do better.
Yeah, that might just be youthful inexperience for him, or
let's hope.
He might have more of a open role this year, maybe less of a support role. But I was pretty high on him coming into Itzulia, because to that point in the season, almost every race he'd done, he'd finished in the points. He'd been, up until Strade Bianche, he had been top 20 on every stage or one-day race that he'd done.
Louis Barr? Wow.
He slacked off a little bit, but he came back and was 6th at Amstel Gold Race and then 24th at Flesh.
Okay.
So that bodes well for that pick. going into who I've got at the top, I also have Pogačar and Evenepoel, Skelmosa, as I mentioned. And then at 600 credits, I've got Roman Grecois, who was 7th at Flèche Wallonne and 7th at Amstel Gold Race. And he was 24th last year, and the only time that he's done this race. He's only 22 years old. So, I mean, hasn't done the race a lot, but he's one of the best young riders out there right now.
All right.
So I like him for it. I was kind of in between him or Ben Healy.
Yeah.
For that 600 category. And that burns up all my credits where I've got to pick 200 guys for the rest of the way. So I like Jan Christen as well. I like Louis Barre or Louis Barre. I don't know how we're going to say it. But another guy that I'm looking at is Davide Formolo. So he's only 200 credits. He's done this race several times. He was 7th in 2018 and 2nd in 2019. And this week he was 16th at Flèche Wallonne. Rode well in that bad weather. We might see that again this weekend. And then I've got Clément Berthet, who we've talked about a lot. And he was 3rd at the Classic Dube and Tour de Jura. And 2nd at Tour de Jura recently. Looked pretty good at Zulia as well. So for a climber, if he can get the right group, find himself in the right group this weekend, could be good for him. And then Jordan Jagat, we pick him a lot.
Yep.
But he was 6th at the Tour de Jura and 4th at Classic Grand Besançon Dube, and looked good at Zulia as well. So that's who we got. That's going to be tough. Start list is not finalized yet, so there might be some better 200 credit riders that pop up.
Is it Sunday or Saturday, the race?
It's Sunday.
Okay, good.
So we might see more there, but probably will be pretty close to what we land on.
How's your tour of the Alps team looking? I've been watching it a little bit.
Yeah,
but
it's actually it's been a really good race. It's been a really competitive race, as they like to say on X. It's always more fun when the aliens aren't there. So no aliens for this one. It's been pretty back and forth in terms of GC contention. Some of the guys that we thought were kind of maybe not in form of the first couple stages have bounced back. Like today, we saw Timon Ahrensman.
Yeah, I was just reading an article where he was kind of blaming that lack of consistency on having just come down from altitude before riding this race, and hoping that the consistency will be there for the Giro in May. So that's going to be. I would really like to see Timmy, my friend Timmy. Ahrensman do well for the remainder of this race, sure, but in particular the Giro. I think just stage 4 today was like a time trial off where you had the big long climbs and the names that kind of leap off the page of a Timon Ahrensman, a Derek G, and a Michael Storer. Like, those are all names, like a big Giro names for me.
Oh yeah.
So I was coverage was kind of, the commentary was kind of
sleepy.
Maybe sleepy.
Yeah.
But it was a you could tell they didn't expect it to kind of play out this way. It was almost like choose your own adventure. Everyone just sort of doing their own individual time trial for the last 50K. Because I mean, I think Ahrensman was off the front, like right when the coverage started. So would not be mad for these people to still look good for the Giro. Grant, I think you were the one who broke the news to the world that this Paul Sexas guy is good.
Yeah, he's good at bikes.
And he's 200 credits, and he was like, where is he on the GC? Is he after stage 3? I think he was like in the top 5, right? He was like 3rd. I don't know where he is today.
Yeah,
I think he fell off today.
Yeah, he fell down to 14th.
He's 14th today, but he dropped 11 spots in GC today.
But interesting there, he is riding with Felix Gall, who's a 1,000 credit rider, and they've kind of been seesawing back and forth in terms of leadership. But yeah, Sixus is he's only 18 years old. Young French rider, maybe the next great French hope for the Tour de France. He climbs really well.
Is that how you say it? Ceasus? It's Sexus?
I think it's Sexus, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not a French expert, so as the listeners will know that our pronunciations are horrid. But
yeah, that's a big takeaway still.
He's up there. Our
surprise winner on stage 3.
Marco Frigo. Yeah. Fan favorite. Max Poole has been up there. Ciccone was cool to see him get a win. He got fined for throwing his sunglasses again into the crowd, but then 100% paid the fine for him. So we love that.
We love to see it.
Piganzoli, a guy we've talked a lot about over the last year, is up there.
11th right now.
Only 22 years old. He should be at the Giro as well.
So, I mean, and the reason we're shouting out these young guys is because, like we just mentioned, Pog is now old.
Yeah. Pop over to the youth rankings. So, Max Poole's up there, Piganzoli in second, and then Richitello in third. So, I hope Richitello does the Giro.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And he's looked really good on the climbs. So, yeah, a lot to take away.
Some big takeaways, I thought.
From the Tour of the Alps. Another interesting takeaway is even if you have 6 of the riders on the best team, you can still be like 600th place in the game. Because this one, it was so obvious who the GC favorites were going to be.
Yeah.
That everybody picked them, and they were cheap enough that you could pick all of them.
Shout out to the homie Matt, though. What, he's in like top 100?
Yeah, he's like 95th.
Let's go, Matt.
So Matt and I have the exact same team, except for I picked some rando to try to be different. Fancello or something like that.
Your kryptonite.
And he picked Cepeda for his 9th rider. And that's our only different rider. And Cepeda, turns out he's like top 10 on GC right now. So
you'll laugh at this. I sat up at my seat when I saw that August guy.
Yeah, AJ August.
He was in the break on stage 1. And I was like, "Oop!" It was like that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio sitting in his recliner. He's like,
pointing. Yeah,
that was me when I saw he was in the break. I was like,
yeah. He is like 42 minutes back just in the youth rankings, though. Yeah. So
he was in the break.
He's a young guy. He's got a lot of kilometers
in the break
to be had before he starts factoring into races. But
yeah,
exciting to see.
So, wow, just kind of like a roundup for us, but we've got...
Yeah, we kind of need to get our racing legs back. We were a little out of sorts after that week off.
I needed a rest, thank you for carrying the torch while I was gone. So yeah, we've got some picking to do. We've already gone over our Liège picks, but there is a deep cut for all of the heads out there. Presidential Cycling Tour of Turkey. Old FVDB Frank Vandenbroek won last year. So that's gonna be my get right. It's gonna be my get right, Grant.
Yeah. That
8 stages, a little warm, find the legs again.
Yeah, a little sprinty. This was the race that got Mark Cavendish to the Tour when he won like 3 or 4 stages at the Tour of Turkey, and then they started that hype train on Twitter of like a Cav to the Tour, and the rest is history.
The Cycling Tour of Turkey, made famous by Cav.
I did pick a preliminary team here. I've got Vandenbroek just because he won last year. Tibor Del Grosso, who's been on fire this season for Alps and Koenig.
Yep.
Giovanni Lenardi, sprinter for Pulte Visit Malta, who goes well in these Pro Series races. Christoph Swansong, he's one of the best riders on this start list, and hopefully he'll get a stage winner too. Casper Van Uden for Picnic Post NL. Simon De Ayers for Alps and Koenig.
And Viviani? You taking Viviani?
No. He just hasn't done much. As soon as I say that, he'll win 3 stages.
Can they just put a youth category filter on this app? I hate having to do this.
How do you just do it by
you
age?
You gotta go into the age, but then does it default to the setting that you need? Or do you have to like dial it in? I need like an idiot proof.
Yeah, because I think it's different for some races. Some races it's U26, some races it's U25. But I think it should be U26 and you should be good.
So Vandenbroek, though, I know you already zoomed right past him because he was the winner last year. He's only 200 credits and he qualifies for youth category as well. Still.
No brainer.
That's value. And
De
Grosso does as well.
Another guy there, Harold Lopez. He is 24. He's been in good form. Andreas Krohn, I think he's struggled with injury, but we know he's a great rider. And then to round it out, Norman Vatra, Estonian rider for China Glory. And I'm picking him just because he popped up at Tour of Anand and was top 5 on 3 of those stages. So
sick. Dude, I don't have a team yet, but I'm telling you one lock. Only 200 credits. And an Aussie, George Jackson.
There you go.
This man, he's 25 years old, so you're going to get him in the youth category. Not a lot of people are hot to this yet, 2%, but this man has the haircut of a champion. Probably the finest salad.
Business in the front, party in the back.
The finest, and that kit's pretty dope.
Yeah, the Burgos Burr Pellet.
Yeah. So you heard it here. That's my lock of the race.
Yeah, he's one of those riders that like Tour of Turkey, Tour of Anand, Tour of Qinghai Lake.
Yeah, he
crushes.
He crushes the Tour of Anand. Yep. That's where he makes his bacon.
Yep. Well, exciting racing ahead. We're going to be even more excited about the Giro next week. So we're probably going to start diving into that. And you're going to be out of office again.
Yeah,
too.
I'm going to be out of office for a couple weeks in May. I'm going to be in England and Scotland for a couple of weeks with my family. So very much looking forward to that trip. I'll be keeping an eye on things in Italy as I'm over there. So we'll have to figure out I don't know if my wife will appreciate me hiding somewhere and like at the shower or something.
Yeah,
and
trying to record a podcast.
Trying to record a podcast where we're on a family vacation, but maybe we can figure out a plan or something. To check in. But yeah. Well, thanks for talking with me today, Grant. And give us a follow if you're listening and you haven't already done so. We're on Instagram and on X with the handle listen2 We are also on YouTube. You can catch our audio only there on YouTube. And we have a league. Is it called a league?
Media League, yeah.
Media League. So you can play along and we'll have a winner at the end of the year. We've curated our favorite races throughout the year for you all to compete in, and we'll have a winner at the end of the year. So make sure, if you're really good at this, you could probably still make up a lot of ground.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the housekeeping out the way. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good.